All right, welcome everyone. I'm Dylan Knutson from Kale. We're so glad you've joined us for this session, Building Community, Foundational Adult Education to Professional Pathways. Before we get started, I'd like to share a couple quick housekeeping tips. Attendees are muted, but please introduce yourself, share contact info if you want, and meet fellow attendees in the chat box. This session is recorded and will be available for 90 days after the conference. There's also a survey that can be found in this event's page within the virtual hub that we'll ask you to complete after the presentation. With that, I'd like to welcome Angelique McGuire of Illinois Eastern Community Colleges to begin her presentation.
Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm really excited that you've decided to join us today. Today, I am going to share with you our strategic plan going forward, and what my team has done within the last 3 years to prepare us for digital literacy, digital equitability for our learners, and connecting with our local level, state level, and national level stakeholders. So welcome to Building Community, a foundational adult education process to building professional pathways. I will also provide you with QR codes on each of my slides. If you would like to go ahead and scan those, some of them are interactive, some of them are just resources for you to have access to. So the first QR code is going to provide you with access to all of the resources. My research, our team's research, and what pertains to today's session. So again, we are going to be speaking about IECC, Illinois Eastern Community College's strategic plan going forward. It was started about 5 years ago, and we have incorporated adult education as a foundational awareness into their guided pathways that actually approaches our local and state level employers, workforce development, even Illinois Department of Employment Securities. We also work with the Illinois Adult and Continuing Educators Association. I'm on the board there, and the Coalition of Adult Basic Education. I'm a SAFE fellow there. And so we are incorporating what we're doing with our strategic plan, which is a local organization. We're comprised of 4 community colleges within Southern Illinois. We are incorporating what we are doing with state level advocacies for adult continuing education and workforce development. So that is our platform for this year. The Illinois Eastern Community College's Strategic Engagement Plan, Forward Together, serves as the blueprint from which we will build structures, systems, and processes to better meet the needs of our students and our communities. So the guided pathways and synchronous lecture halls that I will share with you here in a little bit will be addressed in this research report. And then according to Jenkins, redesigning your college through guided pathways is a whole college change experience that requires leadership from all levels of the organization, from administration down to staff, down to support staff, and then outside stakeholders as well. So you'll want to involve everyone when it pertains to building these pathways for your learners. So I'm going to introduce you to our strategic pathways by creating the standard aligned curricula through our college's learning management system, which is Canvas. We developed a standard aligned, streamlined pathway from adult education into the college's learning management system to better familiarize our lower literacy learners, our English as a second language learners, our non-traditional adult learners who are coming into college, rather not taking college classes at the moment, but coming into the system. By familiarizing them with the Canvas system, then they are more apt to go into our college system and to take charge or take lead of their own role as a college student. And this provides an avenue for them to build their digital literacy skills and to know what to expect in the workforce within their community and beyond. So phase 1 introduces a shared leadership model for the guided pathways. We brought cross-discipline departments together to create necessary steps to build cross-department community resources. And I will elaborate on that and who we brought in, our team, how long we have been working on this within the next slide. And phase 2 introduced a shared vision with partners across the state, which I call my Illinois State Advocacy Team. And we meet on a regular basis, and we currently have about 96 members on the Illinois State Advocacy Team that reaches not only across the state, but nationally. We have some people from other states that feed into our research and that actually receive research from us that they can apply to their organization, to their programs as well. We have evaluated available resources for OER repository, so open educational resources from initiated resource hubs, and I will share our team on the OER team as well, and created standards-aligned curricula templates with the career and technical education and transfer programs in mind. And then phase 3. Of course, we did this as a kind of an experiment to start out with, but we confirmed our hypothesis and reported those outcomes. And we created a streamlined connection for those courses and made available those courses to the adult education and workforce development programs. And then the teachers and the students, they were able to engage and provide their own feedback. And this, again, allowed them the ownership that they needed that kept them in the IECC programs. Our Guided Pathways team started out in 2021, soon after the pandemic had shut down most of the world. And we had come back to a hybrid scenario where we were first face-to-face. We went strictly online, and we developed a program through the Illinois Digital Learning Lab, and they helped us with innovative solutions. They helped us with technologies that provided an avenue to keep our program alive and to reach our students on a level that they've never had before. So myself and one of my instructors, and she is an adult education Canvas coordinator and also the Wayne County CEO program director. She works within the community and she works very closely with my learners, was on the Guided Pathways team. We also included one of our technology support staff within IECC to help us with the Guided Pathways scenario and to keep a streamlined connection between adult education while we were developing the courses and CTE program and the transfer programs. We also brought in administration with Dr. Tana Ambrose. She is the Lincoln Trail College president and the vice chancellor for institutional outreach. So in doing so, we started our cross-department team that was very necessary to get this up and off the ground. And we definitely needed our IT team so that we knew exactly what we were facing so that we could develop these processes. The benefits of the strategic partnerships included bringing again the ideas and a vision from administration so that they understood what we were facing. It brought a vision from our IT department so that they could share with us what they were capable of sharing with us through Canvas and through the intranet system here at IECC. And again, you might think that, well, how is this a cross transfer into maybe local level or state level within other educational organizations or workforce development? Most of them use learning management systems as well, or they use an internal platform that they have for their students or their learners to have access to. And so it is important to get feedback from those cross-department areas so that we know not only how to develop those guided pathways or how to develop those those courses, but also how to communicate what is important and what we need within those courses. So we had innovation into our learning management system. We applied our OER resources. We applied our PDN Pulse, which is the professional development network team, so that they could give us more resources that was not just used within our regional area. And then we gave an access to new markets. So again, we employed the ideas and the opinions and the feedback from our internal and our external customers.
And Angelique, we have a question. Is this
Sure.
program statewide, or is this just you all?
So the strategic plan going forward, this is based on IECC, the Illinois State Advocacy, that is statewide. It's a statewide initiative. So the ideas that we have implemented, the structure that we have provided, that is given out to the entire state with the approval of the Illinois Community College Board. It is provided as just kind of a process to make sure that we are reaching all of our learners, and we are employing the ideas of local level employers. Because if we are building, say, a career bridge class, we want to make sure that our employers have a say in that. We want to partner with them and build those strategic efforts so that our students have exactly what they need when they step outside our doors. Whether it be they go into furthering their education or they go straight into the workforce, we want to make sure that this is applicable to what they're going to need outside of our institution. Did that answer the question?
I think so.
Okay, awesome. All righty. So we have partnered with our local Workforce Innovation Board. The executive director, because she is on my Illinois State Advocacy team, she wanted to know more about what we were doing. So in doing so, I employed her as one of my career coaches within our program, within our organization. And she is helping us build curricula for the Career Bridge courses and for our ICAPS and integrated education and training courses. She is giving us ample opportunity to build WIOA opportunities within those measures. And WIOA, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, I know several of us know what that is, and that is something that's very important here in Southern Illinois. It ties into our programs, allows our students to go to school, not have to pay for the programs that are going to get them the certificate they need, the industry recognized certificate, and gives them a salary wage for 6 months within an institution or within an organization that they want to work for to help them build their skills with on-the-job training. So by incorporating the executive director as my career coach, she has an in into what we are doing. She has a say in that, and she can take that back to her, call it to her board and to the people that she serves, and we can make this a collaborative effort. 3 of the positions that were introduced recently, one was with a firm that assists companies with grant writing, and I do work with students that do not have an Illinois high school diploma. I do work with students that need career skills, soft skills. They need digital literacy skills, health skills, wraparound services. And I work with students that are in need of English as a second language. So with the grant writing efforts, you will see that there's a theme with all 3 of these, that the digital literacy was paramount. And in every job, even if you are going to work in an entry-level job with retail or with fast food, you will need to know a fair amount of how to work with a technology, how to even sign in, or how to work with the technology with the outside or external customers. So they provided an opportunity with grant writing, and they were looking for someone to do clerical work, to answer phones and filing, except just a little bit of everything as an office assistant. We had a second opportunity with a firm that was looking for a marketing consultant, someone to answer the phone, of course, take messages, but also somebody to tap into their social media, page and to help out with that, or provide some basic ad design or marketing activities that they were willing to learn. And then the third one was a little outside the box with our county coroner. She was looking for a light janitorial duties. However, she introduced the idea of auto detailing and some clerical work as well. So we make this more well-rounded whenever we have learners that are looking for jobs, looking for not just jobs that keep them as underemployed, but jobs that will give them an opportunity to grow within that organization and to be able to have a family sustaining wage. So with WIOA requirements and with my executive director, my career coach, or sorry, the executive director of the Illinois Southern 14 Workforce Development Board, she brought in the WIOA requirements and we matched that to the IET requirements. So we developed those courses around those mindsets. And I have compiled within the next 3 slides just some statistics that I wanted to share with you. 2,000 plus, there are 2,000 plus federally funded WIOA programs. So when it says it's federally funded, these are nationwide and attainable or achievable within multiple states. The WIOA adult education system and its partners prepare America's adults for family sustaining level employment. So they enhance or fortify critical academic skills. They integrate integrated education and training opportunities. They provide ELA services and even citizenship classes. And then they help prepare my adult learners who are needing their Illinois high school diploma. One highlight that I brought to you all, it says that IETs have resulted in, which is the integrated education and training courses, have resulted in much greater skills and completion rates for program participants. So nationally, 44,000 of the 1.5 million adult learners are participating in IETs. And if you are in an adult education or continuing education program or working with WIOA, you have heard this term before. In Illinois, it is called an ICAPS. Okay. And then another set of statistics that I wanted to highlight for you. It says 60% are not working or currently not working individuals. So they are either working or they're underemployed, barely enough, receiving barely enough to make a family sustainable wage to provide for their families. And oftentimes we see that if we do not partner with our external customers, our students are dropping out because they are trying to find employment that will help them provide for their families and will provide them with the flexibility that they need to have life outside of work or life outside of school. So in doing so, we are retaining our students. I'm also retaining valuable instructors who gets to keep the maximum level of students within our area. All right. So now I'm going to introduce you to our OER team. The OER team, let's see here. They are at the second phase of building community. So there are outside resources or part of our outside team. They are also on my Illinois State Advocacy Committee. They are with the Professional Development Network here in Illinois. So Dawn Hughes, she is the Central Illinois Adult Education Services Center Director. And of course, myself, and then Anita Kerr, she brings in language arts resources. She is one of our subject matter experts in language arts. And then we brought in Dawn Hughes, and she is a math resource specialist. And I don't have Amber Finacciari on here, but she is also our math resource specialist. So they bring in areas of they're subject matter experts that can tie into what we're creating for our courses. And again, I have another QR code on here that will allow you access to some of their resources. And if you are interested in seeing this process or seeing our Canvas courses and maybe even having access to the template, please again leave your contact information in the chat and I would be happy to share that with you. And I would even be happy to Zoom with you and give you more elaboration on those courses. All righty. And then in doing so with our Canvas standard aligned curricula, when I say standard aligned, what I'm speaking to is the standard alignment for the entire state. So this is approved by the Illinois Community College Board, not just by the Illinois Eastern Community Colleges. So we have to answer to two chiefs. So we want to make sure that they're approved by both sections, but making sure that it is accessible and usable across not just our organization, but across the state is paramount to give digital equitability to our learners, because many of my learners are, they will move from one county to another. And while we cover 12 counties, oftentimes we'll see that our learners will move outside of our counties, but still want to stay connected and have that familiarity with our courses and with what they've already started. So we want to provide them with that. So we see within some of our research that 57.1% said that they appreciated it because it was familiar and they could continue to use it. It was user-friendly, and it was something that they could use across multiple platforms. 42.9% used it in the classroom, so we don't make it mandatory, but we do want to have it there as an accessible resource to our learners. And then 14.3% use it outside of the classroom. And if I have any teachers on here, we know that a lot of our students don't really like to take work home with them, or they can't. So if they are using it at home, we want to make sure they have access to that, and it's the same access that they would have within the classroom. All righty. So in partnering with our external customers and part of our Illinois State Advocacy team, I have employers who have joined the team within the year. And we started this in the spring of 2024, in April, as I am on the COABE Safe Fellowship. And so as part of my fellowship, this was my platform. I wanted to connect and have an advocacy for partnership across the state, and not only across the state, but to learn from others outside of the state as well who are working with learners in our avenue. So one of our employers is Toyota Boshuku out of Lawrenceville, Illinois. Toyota North America has been providing on-site 24-hour daycare for employees. And so this sounds like, well, what does that have to do with your course or your strategic plan going forward? We are seeing with our learners, there are two main barriers to access to family sustainable employment and to our education that we're providing to them. And that one is daycare, the other is transportation. So by partnering with Toyota, we are seeing that they are offering an avenue, a solution rather, to those barriers by providing them with a 24-hour daycare for their employees. Stevens Industries as well, they're a little bit closer. They are in Teutopolis, Illinois, and they built a daycare facility off of their manufacturing facility. They also create furniture for that daycare facility, and they have partnered with the educators within their community to work around the work schedule and the school schedule to make sure that the daycare is used at its fullest potential. And they've provided us, through the Illinois State Advocacy, their process, how they did this, all of the details, so that we could then share that with the North American Lighting, which is in Flora, Illinois, within our community college system. Now, Flora, Illinois is looking into building a daycare. Along with that, they are looking into bringing English as a second language either on site or within that facility that houses the daycare. And they are working with my learners to employ them after they go through a career bridge course with us that is mandated with us, so that they get the soft skills and the job skills and the training that they need to be sustainable employees. So the case study that I'm going to share with you are synchronous lecture halls. This one is a synchronous classroom. It's from Rutgers. And this was, of course, information that was given to us from 2016 through the research, but we have implemented synchronous lecture halls within the last couple of years across the entire four-campus community college system at IECC through doing case studies and research. We were not only investing in strengthening the quality of our online course offerings, but we're investing in the infrastructure necessary to create synchronous lecture halls or to create avenues for our learners if there is a transportation barrier to be able to have access to those much needed courses across the four campuses if they cannot travel to those classrooms. So a synchronous lecture hall provides an opportunity for the learner to zoom in to a live classroom and to have interaction with the class. We use an OWL on each, and we have rooms that are distance learning classrooms that are built. We have at least 2 or 3 now on each campus that are built specifically for those needs. And we have students that are maximizing or using these opportunities to have a flexibility to work within their communities and not have to travel to these separate campuses. So there were challenges with this process, and it is still an ongoing process. Most of you know that with digital literacy and technology, everything changes. It changes every year. We're introducing new technology each year. We're introducing new processes. We're introducing new innovative ideas. Within ICCB requires of us each year to come up with some ideas for programmatic performance funding. And so right now I'm on a team that is looking at revamping the performance funding mechanisms and thinking about inviting innovative solutions into that, or innovative incentives. So with that, we want to make sure that we are staying on top of our game. But how do you do so whenever many of our organizations or many of our programs are cut or have federal funding cut? And that is across the board. It is not just across the state of Illinois, but it is across the nation with adult education and continuing education. We see this as a barrier, but we don't want to meet the barrier with complaints or seeing it as a problem and sharing that with our instructors or with our staff or with our learners. We want to provide solutions. So with that, we are thinking outside the box. How can we provide a solution with what we have, or sometimes less than what we had last year? And that's coming up with working with organizations like the Digital Learning Lab, which used to be just the Illinois Digital Learning Lab, and I was in that for 3 years. It is now the Digital Learning Lab that has taken it across the nation. And we brought in, I'm trying to think of the word right now, our VR headsets. And those VR headsets provides the curriculum that we need that ties into our employers, that ties into our local level industries, and provides sometimes on-the-job training when the student can't actually be at that facility, or they cannot actually work around their schedule to be there at the employer's site. And so they can learn that much needed on-the-job training through VR access.
We have another question.
Sure.
How long did this initiative take your team to develop, start to finish?
How long did it take it to develop, start to finish?
Yep.
We started in 2021 and we're still working on it. It's still growing, and there are new pieces to the pie added almost every month. We have new stakeholders, we have new funding opportunities, we have new partners. It's a growing process, and it is something that I absolutely want to share and make it transparent for you so that you can use that within your state, within your organization. So we have 3 metrics, and again, I take that as like a scientific experiment because I do like to do research. And we have our measurable data, of course, which is our curriculum and sending out pre-surveys and post-surveys after the student has gone through the courses, trying to get valuable feedback from them and our instructors as well to see where areas there are weak areas or where the areas are amazing, and what has actually helped them grow and move on to their next step. We are continuing with surveys, and I sometimes survey my partners out. I will send those to our external customers as well, just to get their feedback, and to ask them if they think this is a worthwhile connection to absolutely to fund as a funding opportunity, but also if it's worthwhile for them to take to their programs. And so I'm not only just giving them ideas from what we're doing, but I'm also getting ideas from them, and they're pouring into this, and it is an ongoing process. And we measure the optimal or the open educational resources and make sure that what we have in our OER repository is valid, up to date, being used, because this is a live document as well, or this is a live hub as well. This is something that sometimes if you see something that somebody has been using for 10 years or used 10 years ago, it's outdated, and we need to revamp or revise that process or that resource. So it is always being touched on, and it does feel like, and I know it sounds like there is a lot of moving pieces, and it's hard. How do you maintain that? But that's why I have so many partners. It's not just me looking into everything and calculating everything and not just researching, but reporting on everything. But we have multiple partners that feed into this. And so this continues to be an effort that we all work on together, and we share out at conferences like CAEL's. We'll share out to the Illinois Community College Board. We'll share out to the other state association boards to make sure that this information is heard, to make sure that this process remains valid and usable. In measuring success, again, we have laying the groundwork, then drafting the plan, and then the long term is finalizing the plan and moving forward together. And so when I say finalizing the plan, I don't guess there's ever really an end to this chapter. This is something that we're always going to touch on. We're always going to have new resources. We're always going to have a need to change the courses or revamp them a little bit. But the basic underlying structure, what we created to begin with, that is there, that the template is there, the groundwork is there, that research is there. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel whenever that is available to you now, and you can take that and use that to get started with.
Another question.
Yes.
Since you work in collaboration with the Workforce Development Board, are your training programs only focused on high priority occupations?
We do focus on the WIOA approved occupations. That is something we focus on because we know that they partner with us in that. However, I have employers that are on the Illinois State Advocacy Team that say for instance, we have graphic design, and they are needing somebody that's going to touch on that. There for a while, WIOA did not approve the graphic design area, but we still incorporated opportunities to share because that was an avenue or a guided pathway for IECC, and it's a guided pathway into universities. So it's not just for occupations, it is for it's for our small businesses too. It's for every industry that touches on our counties that has a need to employ a sustainable employee. All right. Is there a second question or?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay. All right. I hope that
Oh,
that
wait.
answered
Yep.
your question.
Do you offer apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs through this specific opportunity?
I love that question. We have not yet, but that's something that I want to look into. Absolutely. We don't, but I really want to look into that. And if you want to leave your contact information, I would love to reach out to you and elaborate on that. And then my thing is, I love to advocate for opportunities that are key opportunities for our organizations and our learners that's going to help them grow. And an apprenticeship in this would be amazing. We would love to have apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships in this. Now, with our Career Bridge classes, we could see that as a pre-apprenticeship opportunity, but the apprenticeships, we haven't tapped into that yet.
Great.
So again, we have some outline or rough skeleton sketches for planning, for marketing these opportunities. and designing it, of course, through your LMS or through the resources that you currently have. So there's no reason to start looking for resources that you have to purchase for your organization. Let's utilize what you have. Know that there's going to be a strategy to it, and you have to work towards that and always move forward. And then launch it. Just launch it. Don't be afraid. There's always going to be moving pieces. There's always going to feel like that there's something there that is missing. But if you launch it, then other people are going to be able to feed in and say, hey, have you thought about this? Just like the apprenticeship. And then we can add that to it. So I do like this, and I have this as a slide on all of my Illinois State advocacy meetings. We do meet once a month, and it's an hour of your time. I call it my hour of power. I love to meet with local employees or employers. I introduce this to my learners as well. I want them to be a part of it. I have given access to all of my instructors through IECC. So we have educators through the pre-K through 12 system. We have IDES, we have the local workforce boards, we have other educators and universities that have tied into this. We have faith-based organizations and libraries that have tapped into this. Those are very important. The Secretary of State, very important. Literacy, our literacy coordinator and literacy initiatives, those are very important for our learners as well. So we want to provide a well-rounded opportunity to reach each other. And I say it's unleashing the power of transformative partnerships. So I do always seek for funding streams so that we can help each other. And that is something that is an ask. And we have legislators that have joined our team as well, so they can educate themselves on our organizations, on our programs. They really want to speak with our learners, because that when they get out in the field, that's who they want to hear from. They want to hear from the community members. They want to hear from the people that are in the fields that are working. They want to see how the processes are working. They want to get our feedback. I do have Illinois State Advocacy Resources, a QR code here for you to have access to that, so you can see our research and what we have done throughout the year. But again, if you were going to think about this for your organization, for your region, for your area, to create something very similar to this, work beyond the workforce and the education and the employers. Include libraries, community-based organizations, Department of Corrections. That is very important to reduce recidivism. Faith-based organizations, housing, hunger organizations. This will all improve the attainment of education and employment. So the next steps. What are your next steps? And that is where we're here today, why we're here today. I would love to build on my Illinois State Advocacy team. Even if you are not from the state of Illinois, consider jumping on at least one of my meetings and see what we're all about. See if this can benefit you in some way. Is there a dollar sign to this? Absolutely not. This is all free. What I'm providing to you is just research and an opportunity to have a better process and to organize things to meet the needs of your learners in a digital and digitally equitability fashion, in other equitable fashions as well. So we want to make sure that we are including everything that we need to make our learners' lives better, provide a sustainability within our classrooms so they can further their educations, have success, reach their dreams, be sustainable within the employment that they desire. It's not just about educating them for jobs, but for careers, so that they have a focus and they have an ability to move ahead and break cycles that need to be broken. So for future trends in our strategic partnerships, make sure that within your advocacy committee, within your strategic plan going forward, that you promote a strong digital literacy awareness. A lot of people might be thinking, well, my students know how to use a phone better than I do. And I get that, but I absolutely guarantee you that there are areas that they are apprehensive about using. So introduce that to them and learn with them. Provide an online connection between your colleges, between your educators, between your employers. Provide equitable resources for your learners and instructors, but not just for them, but for your partners as well, so that we have access to everything together. Make sure you have cross partnerships. Make sure that you have multiple departments, multiple levels within your state and within your nation, with not just within your organization. And allow for feedback. Make sure that you are giving space for that valuable feedback. Constructive criticism is paramount. And then empower your students and your learners, empower your partners to succeed and to move forward and develop what they need to develop for their area, for their families, for their organizations. So I have another QR code here for you. I'm going to ask you to scan this for, I know that Kale has a survey for you, but I'm going to ask you to scan this and just see if you're interested in being a part of this or getting information from the building community through the adult education and professional opportunity pathways. And if you have any questions, I do have this on here, would like more details, definitely reach out to me. I'm available through email, you can contact me through my phone, through my office phone. You can Facebook message me. I'm available at any avenue at any time. I would happy to speak with you. So thank you. And I do have one more QR code where Kale took our advocacy committee's activity and put that in a blog post. So it has been posted out there and you can see a little bit more information about who we are and what we do. I appreciate your time.
And we have at least one more final question.
Sure.
Aside from WIOA, what other funding streams do you work with?
The Illinois Community College Board provides funding into our organization as well as Perkins. And then we write for other grants throughout the year to help supplement the cost of some of our innovative opportunities.
Great. All right. Well, then I think we will wrap this up. I have collected everybody's contact information. We left it in the chat. Otherwise, it sounds like please feel free to reach out to Angelique. Thank you very much for your presentation. And again, reminder to fill out the survey for Kale and for Angelique.
Thank you, Dylan.
Great. Thank you all.